you for me to behave myself. Okay,
Yes.
cool. Fair enough. I'll keep that in mind.
Okay, we are live.
Namaskara. I welcome you all in our today's YouthWing session. Before beginning today's session, I would like to give a brief introduction about our community. BSKBA Association, popularly known as Gokul, is a 95-year-old charitable trust in Mumbai, and our activities include a community center at Sion and a home for senior citizens at Nerul in Navi Mumbai. With over 5,000 members, we have been actively interacting for religious, cultural, and social causes. In this time of COVID, BSKBA YouthWing is conducting Sunday interactive sessions along with the Talent Hunt series. Today, we present to you a talk on entrepreneurship by Sankeerth Bhargav. Sankeerth is a mechanical engineer by degree, but he was never happy with a normal day job. He always wanted to work for himself, but also knew that it wouldn't be the best decision to do so without any training. So as soon as college ended, he started working with an investor, built a side business for himself from scratch in the field of branding and advertising. But in the lockdown that came tumbling down, he rose back stronger, and currently Sankeet represents major brands like Google, Lynx, and many more to come. He wishes to create a massive youth centric organization to promote entrepreneurship and take the brand international as well. We welcome you, Sankeet, and request you to take over.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the introduction, Tanvi. You actually made me look like a massive figure over there. But fair enough. Anyway, like it's not like I have achieved a lot yet in my career. I'm still in my nascent stage right now, where I'm still trying to develop myself as a person. But irrespective, entrepreneurship is a task that I have taken upon myself, primarily because I love freedom, right? One thing that I realized that after college, most of the people they get into day jobs, most of the people they get into different kind of jobs, but the thing is that most of the people what happens is that just to take a normal leave they have to take 10,000 permissions, right? And I was not comfortable with that. I was like a person, I want to take leaves whenever I want to, I want to travel whenever I want to, I want to do whatever I want to, whatever time that I want, right? And that freedom is what actually propelled me towards entrepreneurship, right? And matter of fact, most of the people who actually aspire freedom are the ones who also go for entrepreneurship in the future, right? So that's what majorly I'm going to talk about. Honestly speaking, even I'm still learning. I'm still in very early stages right now because it's just been like a year since I've started working, and over and above most of that time has been taken up by the lockdown, right? But irrespective, I've learned a lot through these phases, how the lows and the highs can actually teach you at the same time. So those are the major things that I'll be talking about, right? So first come first, the primary thing is I want to clear the image out about entrepreneurship in general. The thing is, entrepreneurship is a mindset, right? Anybody can actually have that. It's not like you have to run a company to have entrepreneurial mindset, right? Even while working for somebody, you can actually have an entrepreneurial mindset, and at the same time, you can propel the company forward, right? Or you can propel your work forward. But the thing is that till now, what most of the people have an image about entrepreneurship is how Indian movies or Hollywood or Bollywood movies have been showing it, right? It's like, the villain, the kingpin, the person, runs behind money. They are money hungry people, right? That's what we actually look at entrepreneurs at, right? But the thing is that what I have understood in general about this concept is that people who actually look out to be entrepreneurs are people who just want choices in their life. It's like, what? It's like even if you're going to the best of the schools and you're going to an average school, you're still a good person to be with, right? But the thing is, the choice that you have to go to the best of the schools is what entrepreneurship gives you, right? And apart from that, where you go shopping, different places where you want to take your family out for vacation, right? Those choices are what entrepreneurs look out for. That's the reason why they actually work hard for the same, right? And that's one of the major reasons why I have also moved towards this, right? Now, one major question that people ask me, and one major question that people usually have in their mind is why entrepreneurship? So, I'd want to explain that with a basic concept. So, I'd want to use a whiteboard for the same thing, right? So, one second. Yes, right. So, this is a very basic concept, right? It has been taught in many management schools, many management colleges, right? It's called as a cash flow quadrant, right? So it's a basic quadrant, right? Which basically starts off where people in this entire world who are working right now are divided into four sects, right? One is employees. I'm sorry for my handwriting, guys. I have not written for a while, so that's why it's coming a little weird. Second one is self-employed, right? Third one is business owners, right? And fourth one are investors. So if you see in the entire world, everybody is divided into these four quadrants, right? People either are employees or they're working for themselves as self-employed people or they're freelancers. People are business owners, they own their own business or they're working with the system. Or people are investors, where they invest into different kind of businesses, right? Now, if I had to divide them, if I had to show you the difference between all of them, employees are basically people who trade their time for money, right? They give in more time and they get in more money, right? Time can be with respect to a time in a day, more hours of work, or it can be with respect to more years of work, right? Usually people who are employed work till the age of 60, 59, 60, whatever it is, 65, till however long they want to earn, right? Now, the thing with employees is that they basically own a job at that time. They own a position. Till the time they hold the position, they're earning the money. Once they lose the position, they're not earning any money after that, right? So they are an owner of a position at that point, right? So basically, the more time you put in that position, the more you earn in that position itself, right? So that's how employees basically function in general. So that's why employees have to work for X amount of time and they're always dependent on somebody else, right? That is the business that they're working for, the company that they're working for. However reliable the company is, the better the employee can actually earn as well, and the better the employee can actually grow as well in the company, right? So that's how majorly the employee functions, right? The self-employed person is basically a person who owns a profession, right? Basically, how much ever time he puts into the profession, the more he earns out of that. Like, for example, doctors are there are CAs, there are lawyers, right? There are freelance graphic designers, web designers, etc. A lot of these people, they are self-employed, majorly because they have got their own freedom, they work according to their own time, right? But irrespective, even the self-employed people, they take that time for money, right? And over here, they own a profession, right? The more they basically work towards a profession, the more they earn over there, right? And the thing is, they are leveled down to the profession only. That's the main thing, right? The third category is basically a business person, right? As a business person, you don't own a profession, you own a system, right? Like, for example, I'll give you a classic example, right? The owner of McDonald's. The owner of McDonald's never learned how to make a burger, right? He just knows how a system functions. He knows what all is required to make a burger. He plays the system, and now you see McDonald's in every nook and corner of the world, right? The thing is, he never knew how to make a burger, but he knew how to place a system in place, right? He knew how to get food fast, right? That's the reason why he basically owns a system. Similarly, even if you look at Steve Jobs, he knew how to make a computer. He made the first Macintosh computer in the world. After that, he taught how to make a Macintosh computer to 10 engineers in the world, and those 10 engineers made his company altogether. Right. After that, all he did was he just came and told what does he want in his computer, what does he want in his phone, what does he want in his watch, and everything. Right. He did not have to put in efforts to basically make a new computer after that. Right. So basically, why did he function that way? Because he owned a system at that point, right? When you basically own a system, you don't have to put in time to earn money because the system works by itself, right? So that's how basically a system functions. That's how a businessman functions, right? The last stage is basically an investor, where an investor owns nothing. An investor just trades his money to earn more money, right? So basically, he just trades his money to earn more money, right? The more money he puts in, the more money he gets back, right? So if you see, there are a lot of investors in the world. Matter of fact, every single one of us is probably an investor at some scale because I'm sure somebody invests in stocks, mutual funds, etc. A full-time investor is a person who invests in companies, right? Like I'm not sure how many of you have seen this show called Shark Tank, where they basically put in money into different companies and they gain money out of that. Not like every company succeeds, right? But the thing is, they don't want every company to succeed. They already have a lot of money, right? They don't require every company to succeed. Even out of 10, if one company goes out and succeeds, they go out and recover all their money back. right? That's how investors function. If you see in this entire world, in this entire not country exactly, world altogether, 95% of people come in these two categories. That is employed and self-employed people, right? Where they either work for themselves or they work for somebody else, right? 95% of the people come over there and 5% of the people come over here, right? But funnily, till now, whatever sessions that I've run, the lifestyle that they want to live, the freedom that they want to have, the travel that they want to have, everything that they want in general, the youth wants to have, majorly the people in this category have it. You see, the richest people in the world, they're usually people who are business people, right? The people who have maximum freedom in the world, the people who are living the most lavish lives are usually business people in this world, right? But the thing is, to move from this point to this point, it takes up a lot of effort. That's a major reason why people don't move over there, right? And the thing is, it requires a lot of mindset, right? The major reason why businessmen also function is not also because of money, right? Because if you think about it, right, if you know, there are more than close to 2,800 billionaires in the world, right? By billionaires, I mean even 1 to 2 billion. What you guys know about Jeff Bezos, Mukesh Ambani, and all these big giants, they're multi-billionaires. What I'm talking about are some simple billionaires like Mark Cuban and all those people who are 1 billion, 2 billion worth. Right. These guys are basically owning billions of dollars or billions of rupees, whatever it is, right? The thing is, if you convert 1 billion into rupees, it turns into close to 7,500 crores. And that's a lot of money. If you think about it, 3, 4 generations of people can actually survive with that much money. You don't have to work you don't have to move a muscle also after that, right? But the funny part is that they're still working. They're still pushing in. They're still pushing for more. They're still pushing for more. So at this point, what I realized is that businessmen are not motivated by money. They're motivated by creating a difference in the world. Secondly, they're motivated by freedom. That's a major thing that they're motivated by, right? That's one mindset shift that I had once I actually passed out from college. Because through college, even I thought that one of the major reasons why businessmen function is because they want to earn more money, right? But I realized that after earning $1 billion, after earning so much of money, why would somebody want to earn more money? Right? If you think about it, if Jeff Bezos is retires today, he dilutes the stake of Amazon. He has 180 billion in his bank account straight. 180 billion in Indian rupees translates to around 18,000 crores, more than that also, right? And honestly speaking, even in the worst catastrophe possible, he will still survive because he has that much amount of money, right? But even after that, if he's working, that clearly means that there's something else that's motivating him, right? And that's one of the major shifts, the shifts in mindset that I'm also working towards. When I realize that, you know what, that's how businessmen function, where they don't work from money, they work from freedom, they work from creating a difference, right? The thing is that majority of the people also crave freedom in this life, right? If I had to ask any one of you, if I'm giving you infinite amount of cash, what are you going to do with it? I'm sure all of you have got some things in mind. You know what, I want to do this, I want to do that, right? I want to create a massive difference in this world. I want to probably help the poor. I want to probably, lift our economy. I want to go partying everywhere. I want to travel the world. Different dreams, right? I'm sure most of the youngsters who are probably studying engineering, or they're probably studying B.Ed, whatever it is, whatever you guys are studying, right? I'm sure as a child, you never thought that, you know what, once I grow up, I want to basically, start working on machines, right? Or even if you thought that the reason why you were working on machines is because you wanted to probably earn some money and do something else after that, right? Remember, your work and what you want to do in life is never in tandem. So that's the reason why one thing I realized is that we work so that we can get more freedom. And I realized that the businessman and the investor sector have got more freedom in life. And that's one of the major reasons why I actually want to shift this side, right? Obviously, the efforts that are involved in this are different. The mindset that you need to have is different. But that's another story. That's something that I'll get onto later on, right? But the thing is, that's one of the major reasons why people actually work towards becoming a businessman or becoming an investor, right? Because there's more freedom that's involved in that. Understanding what I'm saying? So this is one of the major things that I wanted to talk about with respect to why exactly are we talking about entrepreneurship, right? Secondly, when I talk to newer people, people who have just graduated, one thing that they fear is that, you know what, there's a lot of risk when you try to set up your own business. What if it fails? What if I lose all my money? What if I don't succeed? What if I end up wasting a lot of my time? What if I end up wasting 5, 6 years of my life? You know what? That's a doubt that's still in my head. I still go through those phases where, you know what if what I'm doing right now won't materialize to something successful? Because funny thing, pre-COVID, I was actually moving forward. I was moving forward and learning how exactly a business is set up. And in COVID, our business came tumbling down. Right? Everything fell apart. Post-COVID, we again start building up. And now the second lockdown is coming again. Right? So things are not going in the best way possible. But at the same time, I'm learning right now. I'm also in the building curve, right? One of the major things is that in these phases as well, I am also going through that same grind where I'm also trying to understand what if this doesn't materialize into something specific, into something that people can remember. So coming to that, there's another thing I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about generation gap, right? So one of the major things that I have realized is that, one second, I'm going to erase this thing. Okay, I hope that's fine. Yes, I don't know why is it not erasing. No problem. Cool. Guys, I'm audible, right?
Yes, your voice is a bit breaking.
Now am I audible?
Yes, but it's still a bit breaking. There might be some issue in the
Easy. All right, let me just check. I hope the internet is fine.
yeah. Can you stop sharing and then restart it?
Okay, cool. I'll stop sharing. Yes, now my voice is fine.
Um, can you speak? Hello?
Can I get a thumbs up?
No, it's still breaking.
It's still breaking. All
Yes.
right. Let me see what can I do about this. Can you help me out, Mr. Engineer? Mr. Guru Prasad?
Yeah.
What are we supposed to do in such situations? Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. I'll try connecting my hotspot. One second. All right. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Better?
No.
You can say no. It's okay. It's all right. I'm not going to hold it against you. It's okay. Let me see. Let me see. One second. All right, guys. How's the weather? I'm going to do some small talk right now till I don't sort my Wi-Fi out.
Stop.
Okay.
Uh, hey, Sankeerth.
Better?
No. Can you try switching off the video and turning it on?
All right, cool. Let me try doing that. Switch off the video. Switch off the video. Am I audible?
Yeah, the voice is better now.
Voice is better. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Great. I think because I connected onto my phone's hotspot,
Mm.
so it's a little bit perfect. Am I audible though?
It's a bit breaking. Can you try switching on your
Okay,
video
okay.
now? It's better
Let me
actually.
just. I switched on the video.
Yes. Yeah, it's fine now.
Better? Wow.
Yep.
It's a bloody hot day, man. I'm sweating.
Oh, no. It's not better. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, can you like drop off the meeting and can you join once again? If that's possible.
I should join once again, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'll leave right now and I'll join, okay?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, great. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, yes, you're
Better?
audible, but the issue is not resolved.
Issue is not resolved. 1 second. It's very funny. I'm not understanding how is that happening. Let me just check. Give me a second, guys. I'm sorry for the technical glitch.
Can you try joining through phone?
All right, am I audible now?
Yes, but it's breaking. It's audible. Yes,
It's audible, but it's breaking. 1 second.
yes.
Funny. How was this issue not there till now? All right. How's it now?
I guess we can continue with this.
I can continue. Should I start my video?
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Am I audible now? My video is on, right?
1 second. We can't see you. 1 second.
All right. All right. All right.
No, the video is not up yet.
I am wondering what's happening. It's not even visible to me. It's really funny. Just give me a second, guys. Yes, am I audible now?
Yes.
Perfect, perfect, great. Okay. So, all right.
Yeah, this is better. Yes,
This is much
definitely
better,
better.
right?
Yes, definitely.
Great, amazing. We just needed some tweaking of the Wi-Fi to get this happening, right?
Oh,
Here now?
no, this video is still not on.
Again, it's okay. This is really funny. Okay, one second, guys. All right, am I audible now?
Yeah, this is best.
This is best, right?
Yes.
Great,
Yes.
perfect. Finally resolved the glitch. Right.
Yep.
Perfect, great, okay. So anyway, where did I leave off? I was actually talking about the cash flow quadrant, right? As to
Yes.
how exactly the cash is divided in the world, right? Now, the second thing is that, as I was talking to you guys about, is the fact that there's a lot of risk involved in entrepreneurship. That's what majorly people have told me till now, that, you know what, there's a lot of risk involved in it. What exactly are you going to do if you fail, right? If you invest 5 to 7 years of your life and you end up failing in it, right? The funny thing is that I would want to call myself privileged over here, and I'd want to call everybody who's born after the 1990s very privileged in that matter. Because the thing is, we all come in the Gen Z category, right? Now, there have been three generations post independence. One is a Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z, right? Gen X are our grandfather's generation, where, you know what, their main mindset was that we have to survive. Post independence, they were focusing majorly on survival. They had to fend for themselves because that's the stage that they were in, right? India's economy was down the drains, everything was pretty shattered at that point, and we're just rebuilding. So that's the reason why the generation X, that's our grandfather's generation, was majorly working towards sustaining themselves first of all, right? So the worst thing is that because of that, most of the parents, most of our parents, it's our grandparents, they could not create a stable situation for our parents, right? So that's why if you see, most of our parents have a massive struggle story that's involved. I'm sure maximum of you have heard a lot about the fact that how your parents have struggled, how they moved from their villages, they've come over here, they've struggled through life, right? mainly because they are a part of Gen Y. Gen Y is a generation that had to struggle through life. They had to fend for themselves also, and they had to fend for their families also, right? So that's why once the point where Gen Y came into picture was when India was in a little bit more stable situation, right? And they had to think about the future. That's the reason why they were looking out for something called a security. How many of you guys have heard about the fact that, you know what, our parents want us to join the government, our parents want us to get a secure job in a bank, right? Or something like that. Mainly because their generation mainly thought about security. They were like, you know what, we need to secure ourselves. And that's the mindset with which they went. And there were a couple of jobs, a few jobs available at that point, which were assuring security to people, right? Like an engineer, a doctor, a banker's job, working in the government sector, UPSC, MPSC, etc., right? These are all jobs that, you know, provided so-called security. And it's true, at that point it did provide a lot of security, right? But the thing is, the reason why I call myself privileged is because the reason why they function towards security is why I have the liberty to take a little bit of risk, right? And all of us, probably who are born after 1990s or 1995, have the liberty to take that risk, where you are allowed to, you know, take a couple of risks with your life, where you have the liberty to choose what you want to do for some amount of time, even fail in that and still be allowed to bounce back. Primarily because our parents have worked hard for that. Our parents have worked hard for the fact that you get to live the life that you want to live, primarily, right? And that's the reason why I call myself privileged, because I'm a part of Gen Z, because I have that liberty to take risk, right? I have that cushioning that I can actually go out and take a risk. And I'm sure most of the people on this call also have this thing, where we have that liberty to, you know, work for ourselves a little bit. If we have a dream in our mind, if we have some project that we want to work towards, if we had some product that, you know what, can actually bring about a difference in this country, we can actually work towards that project primarily because we have that ability to take risk. We have that cushioning behind us that allows us to take that amount of risk in our life right now, right? And that's the reason why when people tell me that, you know what, there's a lot of risk involved in entrepreneurship, I'm like, that's great. I'm allowed to take that risk. That's the reason why I'm doing it, right? There's a high possibility that probably 2 years, 3 years down the line, I might not achieve anything, but I can still bounce back primarily because I have that cushioning within me, right? And that's one of the major reasons why I'm also motivated to do this right now, because there's not a lot of liabilities that involved with me, right? And honestly speaking, most of the people who are in our generation right now, they don't have a lot of liabilities that way, right? Our only objective is to make ourselves secured, and we can take any ways to do that. Like, the world has changed to such a great extent that people are making money just by posting a photo online. It's so funny, right? Who would have thought that social media influencing can actually be a profession? Just posting a photo can actually be a profession. Telling you how to dress up, telling you how to, you know, dress up in a proper manner can actually be a profession, right? We never thought about these things, right? But the thing is, times have changed so much that, you know what, everything in this world has become a profession. If you know how to do anything, you can actually earn money out of it, right? And that's one of the major, you know, liberties that we have. That's one of the major benefits that we have who are born after 1990s, right? The fact that we are young, we have got that energy to actually explore the world. We actually have that privilege in our mind, primarily because our parents worked hard. And that's why I call ourselves the Gen Z generation, right? So that's why, as Gen Z, you have the liberty to take that risk. So if you have something in mind that you want to try doing, do it, right? Once you try doing it, that's when you basically propel forward. You maximum can fail. You'll fail once, twice, thrice. But the more you try, you'll obviously succeed eventually. And even if you don't succeed, you still have cushioning behind you. And that's one of the major reasons why I have actually chosen this path, right? Primarily because my parents have secured themselves, right? So this is majorly why exactly you have to choose entrepreneurship, where this is how the cash flow quadrant works and why exactly the risk factor is not a concern for us at this point. Now, the second thing that majorly people have asked me till now is how exactly do you actually go about and become an entrepreneur? How do you become a successful entrepreneur of the future? Right? How exactly do you make your situation more secured? Right? And one of the major things that I have actually read, I have started reading a lot through this lockdown. I'm not a massive reader. I never liked reading a lot, honestly speaking. But in the lockdown, I tried reading here and there. I tried listening to a couple of audiobooks. And one thing that actually most of the successful people in this world talk about is not about motivation. It's not about, being fearless. It's not about anything. It's just about good habits, right? The fact that you develop good habits within yourself is what exactly propels you forward. That's the only and primary thing, right? And currently at this stage of life, we are all working towards building good habits, right? The thing is, if you see, right, Most of the people, just give me a second. Let me see if I can share screen. Right. All right. Yes. You can see the board, right?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. My drawing is going to be even worse right now because my computer is not allowing me to touch the screen, but I hope you guys can bear with it. Okay, cool. So if you see, right, most of the people in this world, this is like a timeline graph, right? Right? Where this is the x-axis represents the effort that you put inside in doing something, and the y-axis basically represents the time that you spend in doing something. Right? Now, what most of us expect is that our life is going to be a linear life, where the more effort and time we put, we are just going to go straight, right? It's going to be a straight upward growth, right? And this is going to be a growth axis, right? The more time you spend, the more you grow. That's how we have been conditioned, right? But honestly, till now, what we have seen is that our life is more or less like this. Wow, my drawing is much better. I can draw this way. That's amazing. Great. Right. So this is how our life has been in general, right? And this is how the curve always is usually. Where you try putting in more efforts, the more time that you put in, automatically what happens is that you don't get in the desired result straight away. You first go down, then you go up, then you go down again, and then you go up. Right. It's usually been like this. Right. What happens is that most of us lie in this path itself. This is the path that we follow usually. Be it in our corporate lives where you know what, you feel like you spent 2 years, 3 years, 4 years in a company, you're not growing at all. In our case, 6 months in a company and you feel like you're not growing at all. True or false, right? Or in general, when you're giving in exams, you see that somebody else has not even put in the effort that you have put in, and they're getting in all the accolades. I'm sure most of you have felt that way, right? But the thing is, that's how it has been, right? Where we start comparing our lives with somebody else, right? What we don't see is the problems that they are going through, right? One of the major things is that this is the curve that we go through. This is the life that most of us go through. And honestly speaking, the person you are comparing yourself is also going through this curve, right? Where this entire portion that you see over here, this weird little semicircle, right, is popularly known as a valley of disappointment, right? That's what it's been called. It's in this book called The Atomic Habits. You guys should try reading it. It's a great book, right? So when you're basically in that curve, what happens is that most of us feel like, you know what, we are disappointed. We are not reaching where we want to be. We are not propelling forward, right? But the thing is that the habits, what you develop, incur in these stages when you're down, are what actually propel you forward as well. Most of the people, they give up when they're over here, over here, over here. Irrespective if you're doing a job, if you're working somewhere, whatever it is, usually people start giving up at these stages. You start changing jobs, you start looking out for new opportunities, etc., etc. Right? But the thing is, you don't realize is that you're in a valley of disappointment. Right? At this point, what you're doing is you're learning, you're developing your habits that can help you move forward. Right? But what we do is we want instant results. Right? And I have also been a very big victim of this, where I have also focused a lot on the results. Where I have also, matter of fact, even now, most of the times, whenever I look at things, I'm like, I need to get the result right now. And that's how we have been conditioned, right? But the thing is, you don't realize that we are just in the start of our career or even in the mid of our career. And at the end of the day, we are still learning. And currently, what we are learning is not knowledge. What we are learning is good habits, right? And when you start developing those habits that can actually propel you forward, your life will only start propelling you forward. You don't have to put in efforts to go forward. Understanding what I'm saying? It might sound like, it might sound like a motivational talk over here right now, but this is how in general people function, right? Where people majorly look at it because that's how education system in general has conditioned us. Where we study for an exam one day prior, we give an exam and we instantly get the results out, right? We ask our parents for something, next day it's there in our hands. They have in general been conditioned like that, right? Where we do put in the effort and instantly get in the results, right? But in real life, that's not how it functions. Where we have to constantly keep putting in efforts and eventually it compounds up and eventually get up the results. True or false, right? And that's the reason why if you see, right, 90%, matter of fact, 99% of the people in this world are still in the valley of disappointment, right? The moment you reach this point, right, where you're out of the valley of disappointment is where you're basically contented with your life. That is the point when you know what, you don't want to work anymore. Understanding what I'm saying? So honestly speaking, even if you look at the biggest of giants in the world, like for example, Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk is the richest person in the world currently. But if you think about it, he's still in the valley of disappointment. Why? Primarily because he wants to colonize Mars. He wants to basically go out and set up a colony in Mars. And that's his goal, right? And till he doesn't attain that, he'll still be in the valley of disappointment. Because if you see, he launched 3 rockets, all the 3 rockets failed. True or false? Right? But still he's trying to launch another one, right? The thing is that most of these people are still in the valley of disappointment, but they can sail through the valley of disappointment primarily because they work towards good habits, right? Now, what are these good habits that I talk about so highly? Like a lot of people talk about good habits. They're like, you need to develop some rituals for yourself, the billionaire morning routine and everything like that, right? What I read in the book was don't try to follow anything online, just focus on growth, right? Focus on 1% growth daily, right? All you need to do is become 1% better than what you were yesterday. When you focus on becoming 1% better, you're not pressurizing yourself to become like a legendary person altogether. You're not expecting yourself to, launch a massive thing altogether direct, like straight away without any efforts, right? What you're focusing is that you need to grow yourself by 1%. And if you see that improvement happening, show gratitude towards that. That's it. Where 1% growth towards a positive direction can actually propel you forward to a great extent in the long run. And that's what I have actually, this is a concept that was actually taught to me in the lockdown. I started reading this entire thing in the lockdown itself, where the concept of atomic habits, the book of atomic habits actually came to me over there itself. I did not read it personally. People told me about it majorly, right? And all of these things actually stuck with me, right? And that's what I'm also still working towards, where my idea is that I want to grow myself by 1% every single day. Show gratitude towards the growth, not towards the result. Right. Matter of fact, previously before the lockdown, if you had probably told me to run the call, I would not have run the call this effectively. If you tell me to run the call 1 year later, I'll probably run it even better. Right. Now also when I run calls with youngsters, with college students, etc., I run it in a different manner. I can see a difference how I was pre-lockdown, post-lockdown, right? Primarily because I have gratitude towards the fact that I have developed myself to be this person right now. Right. And I'm still working towards becoming much better at this. And eventually, probably, I might actually grow. You might probably see me somewhere else, right? That's my main goal eventually, right? But again, where does that come from? That comes from habits, your daily habits that you develop on a single day, right? Now, again, coming to the fact as to how exactly do you develop these habits, right? Is there any rule book for the habits, right? Honestly speaking, the habits are not the same for everybody. For everybody, it will differ to a great extent, right? What habits you might have to incur is not the habits that I have to incur, right? So at the end of the day, there's a basic concept that you need to keep in mind as to how exactly you have to develop good habits, right? First come first, the primary thing, right? Where you need to make sure that your association is really good. The kind of people, the kind of people you're associating yourself with, the kind of people you're hanging out with most of the time, the kind of people you're spending a lot of time with are people who are actually having the same ambition that you have, right? It's a simple thing, right? Best example in college, when the group that you were with defined the person who you were. If you were with a group that actually studied a lot, never bunked any lecture, you also turned out to be like that. You're with a group of people who bunked a lot, they want to have a lot of fun, you also turned out to be like that. If you're with a group of people who are very extroverted, people who everybody knew in college, you know what I mean, right? If you were with them, you also turned out to be like that. You also automatically became more extroverted. You also were very comfortable talking to more people. True or false? Right. So that's the kind of group that basically defines you. The association that you have throughout your life is what will define you at the end of the day, right? A great person, you might have heard about Warren Buffett, right? Warren Buffett actually once said this in one of his interviews, that you are actually the average of the 5 people that you spend most time with, right? The 5 people who are there in your circle are the ones who define you. What you guys need to do is you guys just need to figure out who are those 5 people you spend more time with. In my circle, the 5 people who spend most time with are the people who are working towards their goal, are people who are already entrepreneurs, are planning to become entrepreneurs, people who are already much ahead than what I am right now, right? People who I rather want to be like rather than who I am like, right? Those are the kind of people I try to associate myself with. So at the end of the day, your network is going to determine heavily what kind of habits that you develop as well, right? What are the kind of people are you hanging out with? Who are you hanging out with? What habits do those people have? Right? Especially are those people something who can add value to your life or not add value to your life? These are things that you start looking at once you probably have passed out of college. Remember, guys, after college, you don't have to be emotional about the kind of people you associate yourself with. Most of the time what happens is that what we do is we try being very emotional about the fact that, you know what, I've spent so many years with this person. I am compelled to be friends with this person even now, right? Even though he's probably moving to a different direction than you are, right? You're just compelled. You're like, yeah, I've invested so much time. I've been best friends with this person for the last 8 to 10 years. How can I let them go? How can I let this friendship go away? But the thing is, when it comes to after college, these emotional values, right, they actually take a back seat. You, at the end of the day, if you are motivated to do something, you automatically start building a connection of people who you actually want to hang out with, who actually align with your goals, right? And the thing is, you don't have to feel bad about it. That's not something that people should feel bad about, and that's not something that people should feel guilty about. It happened at every stage of life if you think about it, right? Even when you were in school, your friends in school were probably not your friends in junior college, right? Now again, once you pass out from junior college, your friends in college are probably not the same friends who you had in junior college, right? Now when you pass out from college, your friends in work life are probably not the same friends that you have in college, right? Not that you don't like them, not that they are bad people, just that you move forward, right? Just that you have become a better person. You have different ambitions now, right? Work from your thought process, work from your growth. It's okay to be selfish, especially when it comes to your growth. Because at the end of the day, all of this is going to make your situation a little better, right? Make sense? So that's one thing that we work towards, the association that you have. Remember, you need to keep your association clean. If you get toxicity from anybody, you need to let them go. That's extremely important, right? Especially in times like these, especially in times when, the world is all virtual, right? Especially in times like this, you need to disassociate with toxic people, right? That's one thing. Apart from that, the second thing is responsibility, right? How much responsibility are you taking, right? First thing first, at the stage that we are in the very nascent stage, you need to learn taking responsibility of yourself. Basic things that you do, right? Basic responsibilities, right? You need to take care of yourself. You need to be self-sufficient. You need to be enough to stay alone, right? That's what I say it, right? Like if you're responsible enough to stay without anybody, you're actually moving forward. That's one of the major steps that you take post college. That's why one thing that I actually advise a lot of people, and I'm still advising myself as well, is try staying alone for some time, right? Your parents will take care of you, but till you don't take responsibility of yourself, it's going to get very difficult, right? Once you start staying alone, the only reason why I tell people to stay alone is because that propels the idea of taking responsibility of yourself, right? Because till the time you're staying at home, whatever you do, your parents will take care of you, no matter what. Right. Once you start staying alone, you have no option but to take care of yourself. And once you start taking responsibility of yourself, right, automatically you can move forward. Right. That's one of the major things that you need to work towards, that taking responsibility of yourself, eventually start taking responsibility of other people as well. Right. That's how you basically add on responsibility onto your life. That's the second thing that I majorly work towards, is taking more responsibility. It's okay. It's all right to fail as well when you take more responsibility. But when you add on responsibility on your life, you at least know what it's like to take that responsibility on your head. True or false? Right. So that's one thing that I work towards. Third thing is attitude. Right. What is the attitude with which you're looking at challenges? What is the attitude with which you're looking at your positives, your negatives, right? And whatever challenges that you're facing in life. Like for example, in the same, since three people are there in call with me, most of those people are still in college, or all of those people are still in college. Probably the challenges you guys are facing is, how do I finish my assignments in time? How do I, finish my final year project in time? My teachers are adding on a lot of pressure onto me, right? All these things are basic challenges that you're facing, right? But the thing is, you need to understand that all the challenges that I face, I love them, because I feel like, those are the challenges that I can actually write in my autobiography, right? Understanding, that's the way I look at it. I'm like, you know what, when I probably become successful in the future, all of these things are going in the book that I write. This COVID time has come up as a boon to me, because I got content for my autobiography, right? I can write about myself now, how I've gone down and everything, right? I love that fact. Whenever challenges come to me, I look at it like, you know what, these are pointers that can be added onto my autobiography in the future, right? Look at challenges in a way that, you know what, this is something that's just a milestone in your life. At the end of the day, when you're given a challenge, you will only cross it when you're capable of crossing it, right? Till you're not capable of crossing it, you won't cross it. That's the thing, right? So look at challenge as a way to make yourself capable. It's a test of making you more capable, right? That's the attitude with which I look at everything. Any difficulty that comes in my life, I look at it like, you know what, this is a pathway, this is a test that has come in front of me to make me more capable, to make me more self-reliant. That's the only thing, right? What is the attitude that you carry throughout the journey throughout your journey, throughout your life journey in general, right? It's extremely important to have the right attitude, have the right mindset before you face anything, be it positives as well. If you take positives on your head, you're going to start tumbling down easily, right? If you achieve something massive in life and you start taking it into your head, you're going to start tumbling down. Similarly, if you put in a lot of effort onto something and you still failed at it, and you take it to your head again, you're going to start tumbling down again. That's one of the major things, right? So that's why the attitude that you have basically while taking challenges, it's something that's extremely important, right? That's the third thing. Fourth thing, systems. Remember, at the end of the day, right, everything in this world works on a system. From your morning routine, the way you wake up in the morning, from your work schedule, right? Your college schedule. If you see, you guys also work on timetables. That's a schedule that you have, right? It's a system that your teachers follow, right? Even when you work on your projects, there's a system that you follow. First, you design the back end, first, you design the prototype, then you design the actual model, right? When you go out for interviews, there are a couple of questions that they ask you systemically. First, they ask you questions about yourself, then they ask you questions about management, then they ask you questions about your job profile, right? Then they ask you trick questions, then they ask you normal questions, right? That's what basically functions. There's a system when it comes to an interview as well, right? They would want to know how you are as a person. Everything in this world works on a system. First thing first, whenever you're doing something right, try decoding the system of how you're doing it. Whenever I am basically carrying out a work, I would try decoding the system of what exactly is the system that I'm following to carry out this work. One of the major reasons why people follow systems is primarily so that they can replace themselves, right? At the end of the day, it's a very simple concept, right? When it comes to business or even when it comes to management, I'm sure most of you want to reach out to a management position eventually. Even when it comes to management or when it comes to business, you need to understand one thing. The only job that you won't be doing is a job that you've already assigned to somebody else, right? And if you can assign it to somebody else, that means there's a system that you have identified that that person can follow. What is training at the end of the day, right? You're basically giving a system to somebody else, right? When that person follows a system, right, that's when you guys can also understand things. One second. One second, guys. I'll just stop share because my face is very small right now. My parents are complaining apparently. Just give me a second, guys. Is my face visible now? All right. Perfect.
Perfect.
Yes. So as I told you, the jobs that you won't be doing is something that you have replaced yourself for, right? Till the time you don't have somebody to replace yourself with, you will have to do all the work. Once you have found somebody who can do the same job that you can, you won't have to do that job ever again. That's again, every businessman follows this code, right? Like again, Steve Jobs example. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, they started Apple as a company, and they were the ones who actually made the entire system, right? They were the ones who actually made the entire Macintosh company. Then they taught it to 10 engineers and they never made a computer ever again. Similarly, with Jeff Bezos, he made up the entire Amazon setup, right? And to start off with, he used to deliver Amazon books himself. He used to go door to door to just deliver Amazon books, right? It was a book company, right? Where they used to sell books online before, right? So he used to personally go to deliver books. Then after that, what did he do? He found delivery men who he could pay, and he never had to deliver books again, right? So that's how. At the end of the day, when you work out of a system, automatically you're able to replace yourself. This also comes when you want to reach out to a management position, right? That's what people teach you in general. Even when you're reaching out to a management position, you need to understand the system in the company that you're working out of. That's when you can replace yourself to a greater extent. Make sense? Right? Because I'm sure the first job that everybody gets, they don't want to do that for their entire life. They want newer challenges at every stage, right? Everybody wants newer challenges, right? So that can only happen when you learn how to replace yourself. Make sense? Right? That's the fourth thing, following a system. Fifth thing is profitability. You need to understand money. That's very important. One major mistake that I personally made, and I'm still making that funnily, is the fact that all the money that I earn, I spend it, I splurge it, right? I spend it on anything in this world, right? And that's some mistake that I'm still making in my life, right? Which I'm still learning, understanding. Remember, at the end of the day, everybody works on profits. Till a profit is not made, a company is not a company. It's just a loss-making company. I don't know what it is, right? Basically, if you want to basically propel forward, you need to learn how to make profits, right? That's the first step that everybody needs to know, how to make more money, right? To make more money, you need to understand money first, right? Money is basically expense, revenue minus expenses that you have. That's a basic concept that everybody knows about, right? This, I don't want to run it like a college lecture because I'm sure everybody understand how it functions, right? But at the end of the day, if your revenue is not more than expenses, then you need to cut down on your expenses or you need to increase your revenue. The liberty of increasing the revenue is only given to a person who's running a business, right? If you're running a business, you have that liberty to actually increase your revenue. Or even if you're self-employed, you have that opportunity or liberty to increase your revenue. But if you are basically working on that, if you're working on a fixed income that's coming into you, right, you need to learn how to cut down on your expenses so that you can actually invest that money and save that money as well, right? Profitability is something that everybody works towards eventually, right? If you're not earning profits, you're not moving forward. That's how simple it is, right? So I don't want to dwell a lot into profitability, primarily because that you'll understand that more once you probably start working. I don't know how many people are working in this call. That's why, at least the people in front of me, none of them are working. That's why I don't know how much should I talk about that. That's the reason why I was not dwelling a lot into it. But if you see, these are the 5 major concepts that we work towards when it comes to developing good habits, right? Knowing who you're networking with, what is the kind of network that you have within yourself, right? Secondly, are you taking enough responsibility? Third thing, do you have the right attitude towards challenges? Do you have the right attitude towards successes? Fourth thing, are you identifying systems? And fifth things, are you managing your income properly? Right? These are the 5 major things that, you know what, I understand with respect to developing good habits, right? So I think that's what entrepreneurship is actually pretty simple. It's pretty black and white that way, right? Where you just need to understand how what the world requires and provide them that and manage it pretty well, right? And don't get disheartened by small discomforts that you face on the way, because discomfort is a part of the process, right? So I think this is what I can majorly talk about. I don't know, should I add anything onto this, Guru Prasad or Tanvi or Janvi, whoever it is?
Yeah, it's up to you.
Come again, I can't hear you properly.
It's up to you.
I can add something if you, I can talk more a little bit, right? One
Yeah, yeah.
major thing that I realized, right? So there's something again, one more question that people ask me, right? Where, you know what, they ask me that, you know what, we, after a particular degree, any degree, be it BCom, be it BMS, be it engineering, be it BM, whatever it is, BMM or whatever it is, people ask, should we do an MBA? Right? How much value does an MBA add to you? Honestly speaking, I have personally not done an MBA, right? So I don't know how much value it adds on to you, right? But one thing I've realized since I've taken a lot of interviews, right? I have gone through the process of interviewing people. I've gone through the process of understanding people and what they require when you basically have to hire people, right? So one thing I've realized that in today's day and age, right? Most of the people, they want to reach out to a management position eventually. If I ask anybody, like if I had to interview 10 people today and I had to ask them, how do you see yourself in 5 years? They'll be like, I want to be in a high position. I want to be in a management position when I basically spend 5 years in a company, right? But the funny part is that in an MBA degree, you only learn one thing. You only learn one. Either it's HR, either it's marketing, either it's operations, right? Or it's finances, right? But the funny thing is that if you want to become a general manager in a company, you need to know all these 4 things together, along with law, along with legalities. You need to have all these 5 skills within you. Then only you become a general manager of a company, right? You can ask your parents if you want. They'll also understand how it functions, right? If you have only one skill within yourself, let's say you have only HR skill within yourself, you can only become an HOD. That's head of department. If you want to become a general manager eventually in life, you need to have all these 5 skills within you, right? Because today's day, right, most of the people are looking out for all-rounders. That's what I have noticed, at least. Because at least when I am hiring people, I'm looking out for such kind of people, right? Who know a lot of things already, right? And funnily, it's everywhere in the world. Even if you look at cricket, I'm sure most of you watch cricket, right? The IPL is also coming now, right? Even if you look at cricket, currently the IPL auctions happened. 3 people who are the most expensive sells in this year's IPL edition, all 3 all-rounders. Funny, right? All 3 of them were all-rounders. There were great batsmen who were there who were not sold at all. There were great bowlers also were there who did not get sold at all, who did not get picked by anybody, right? But everybody who were picking people were all-rounders. Glenn Maxwell, Ben Stokes, Chris Morris, all of these big names who were there, right? They're all all-rounders. It's funny thing, right? Because wherever I go now, everywhere where I'm going, people are only valuing all-rounders more. Matter of fact, even if I look at the Indian cricket team right now, they're valuing all-rounders so much that Hardik Pandya is actually stated as one of the most valuable players in the Indian cricket team right now. Primarily because he's an all-rounder, right? And what I have realized is that in today's day and age, people need to work towards being an all-rounder. And honestly speaking, you can hold this against me if you want, but an MBA degree is just 2 years of learning one skill. If you're investing 2 years in learning just one skill, what are you going to do for the rest of the years? A lot of people may argue by saying that, you know what, the other skills you can learn by experience. So you can learn that one skill also by experience. Might as well gain the experience, right? Right. One of the major problems that people have is that one major reasons why people do MBA is because, you know what, there's a higher degree and you know what, we'll get a better job once we do an MBA. True, 100%. I can't deny that. You will get a better job. You probably might get a higher pay as well. But the thing is, there are so many MBAs outside right now. It still gets difficult, right? So that's why at the end of the day, the only thing that you have to focus on is developing your skills, right? Once you start developing your skills, automatically in your career, you start propelling forward. And honestly speaking, the lockdown is the best time to develop skills. I loved this phase. You know what? Because the thing is, the amount of things that I've learned, the amount of things that I've read through this phase, I haven't read any time in my life. You can ask my parents. I barely have time in my life. And in this lockdown, then I got some time for myself. These are things that I majorly did, right? I tried reading a little bit here and there, watching movies, did not analyze movies, did not try to educate myself in that front. But at the end of the day, those are things that actually taught me a lot of things, right? When I watch movies that actually talk about entrepreneurship, that talk about developing yourself, right? And that's how basically I also learned a lot of things. Makes sense? So keep educating yourself, guys. I don't want to add anything on more to this. Probably if you want to ask any questions or anything like that, or if you want to attend any more of these webinars, you can probably reach out to me. My company does a lot of such webinars. We are actually associated with a lot of colleges where we take a lot of such sessions, similar sessions, right? Teach a lot of college students regarding how to crack interviews, developing leadership skills, all of these things. I don't run most of things. My trainers run most of those things, right? People have taught me everything. They run most of those things, right? So probably the learning that basically you'll get will be much more advanced, much more high level, right? So if you want anything with respect to that, you can reach out to me. I can help you with anything possible. Apart from that, would you want to ask any questions, anything like that? I'm open to that.
Yeah, there's a question. How do you describe growth, and how do you know that you have grown 1% ahead?
All right, great. You know yourself better, right? Now, see, now growth defines two things, right? First thing first, how you were in the previous day. Secondly, what direction you want to grow. Like, for example, I would categorize my growth. You know what? If I'm waking up 5 minutes earlier today, I would categorize that also as growth, right? The fact that I have actually done something that I have not done before, I have moved out of my comfort zone, even to some extent, that means I've grown a little bit. The idea of growth is that you can never grow in your comfort zone. If you feel like, you know what, you did not do anything challenging today, challenging as in does not mean you need to move boulders altogether. Smallest of smallest challenges. Probably, you know what, waking up 5 minutes earlier, waking up 2 minutes before your alarm clock and not sleeping again, right? Probably getting ready for your work or your college or whatever it is 10 minutes earlier than usual, right? Finishing your breakfast faster, cooking your own breakfast. Small challenges, it can be possible. Any small challenge in a day, if you challenge yourself at least once, you have grown. Because your growth happens always outside your comfort zone, right? At the end of the day, once you're outside your comfort zone, that means you know you're growing to some extent. My idea is that I want to feel challenged at least once every single day in any aspect possible. Right. Like, for example, today's Sunday. Every Sunday, I usually sleep more or less the entire day, right? And today's day, I had to actually give a talk. I had to prepare myself. I had to do a lot of things, right? To sort my internet out. There are small glitches here and there, right? Small challenge, right? Whatever it is, it's a challenge, right? It's been a while since I gave such kind of a talk. Last talk I gave was in the previous lockdown. And after that, there was a big gap till March. And again, I'm giving right now, right? So that's why I'm feeling like, you know what, there's a new challenge that I'm facing right now. So that way, I try looking out for more challenges, any kind of challenge. I don't know what challenges you, something that you want to change within yourself. I'd probably want to maintain a memoir of 3 things I liked about today and 3 things I did not like about today. I'd want to maintain a memoir for the same, right? Once I maintain that, then I know, okay, fine. These are the 3 things that I want to change. These are 3 things that I changed already. Then I work from there. And that's when I know I'm growing a little bit, little bit, little bit. And eventually you won't even realize when you're a different person. Right? You never realize that. That's the best part of it. Because you end up surprising yourself. I hope that answers the question, Tanvi. Does it? Does it not? I'm confused.
It was from a viewer.
All right, that's awesome. Great. I hope it answers the question of the viewer then. Any more questions?
No, we haven't received any more questions. If there are any questions, please put it in the chat box.
All right. Cool. I don't think I have anything to add on to this. Most of the things I've said, right? Most of the things that where I work from, and it worked out, right? Okay,
So, shall we conclude?
sure.
Okay, then a huge thanks to you, Sankeerth, for giving such a motivating talk. It was really very well explained, and I'm sure that it really encouraged our budding entrepreneurs.
Let's hope for the same.
Yeah. So with this, we also would like to thank the president of BSKBA Association and the managing committee for the
Yeah.
opportunity and support, as well as the encouragement. And we also like to thank Guru Prasad, Priyanjali, and Sri Lakshmi for all the coordination. Please subscribe to our channel, and you can also follow us on Instagram by the name YouthWing BSKBA. Thank you all for joining in. Namaskara.
All right. Thank you so much.